Who are the backup cornerbacks beside Verrett and Mosley, right? Because I think they're locked in. You're not penciling them in. You're writing them in with Sharpie at this point. Those are your two starters. Who are the people behind them? And this is a concern that I've voiced many times about, God forbid something happens to Verrett. God forbid something happens to Mosley. This is a cornerback room, not a defensive back room, because I think they're pretty set as safety. A cornerback room that you are one injury away from bad things happening. And that's really what I'm talking about. So does Ambry Thomas take a step? Is Lenore, the next guy? Because you're literally one injury away from Dante Johnson being pushed back into, and no disrespect to him. It's just, that's not
what he's a special teams player.
Right. Oh, and he's a very solid end of the roster guy. He's always going to have a spot on this team because he's professional. He goes about his business the right way. Fine. And for the people that bashed him last year after he gave up that touchdown to Fulham, I believe he tore his groin on the play, and it was like the best pass of Carson Wentz's life.
Yeah, it was
his life. Literally, he couldn't have thrown it up into a balloon and had it drop down into the spot better than that, honestly. So, while everybody makes their jokes about Dante Johnson, the cornerback depth is something that I worry about. I really do, because injuries are going to happen. It's this is football. This is how the game goes. And if there is an injury to one of the two starting cornerbacks, now things get a little bit hairy. And then couple that with the fact that you don't know if this pass rush, the pass rush should be better. It can't be worse than it was last year. And I'm not saying worse in a way that it was terrible. It's just that they were missing all of their best players on the edge. So it can't be worse. But if this pass rush isn't as ferocious as people believe it will be, the cornerbacks are going to have to do more covering. And that's what I get a little bit worried about, as the depth behind those guys.
See, I'm curious to see what this cornerback thing in camp is. Ambry Thomas in the mix to start, because he is more gifted than Emmanuel Mosley. It's a lot like what's happening at quarterback between Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like there are reasons to start Jimmy Garoppolo, but when one's clearly more gifted, and that's the same thing going on here at corner. So is Ambry ready? If he is, he could start, and Emmanuel Mosley could be the backup. And all of a sudden you look at the depth as better, because you got an experienced guy waiting in the wings just in case Jason Verrett gets hurt, Ambry Thomas falters. It looks better. So if Ambry Thomas can assert himself as a start, obviously that makes the depth look better. That's the kind of the way I'm looking at it, because I guess I don't expect a ton from Deommodore Lenoir as a rookie. I could be wrong. It seems like that by taking Ambry Thomas where they did, they're leaving the door open for him to take that spot. Plus, they're not spending that much on Mosley.
And another thing is I think that if once the 49ers get into camp and they start to realize what they have, after a few days, you really start to understand what you have. I think that's when, if there is an issue with depth, I think the 49ers will reach out. Hi, Steven Nelson. What are you doing today? We need to make a call. Let's make a call to Steven Nelson, because he's been a productive cornerback in this league for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's still unsigned. And it's not he's unsigned because he has a big injury or he fell off the map or anything like that. It's just the way the league is played out. A lot of teams, and Eric Crocker is the one who told me this. A lot of teams, you go into your camp trying to figure out, what do you have? Okay. What do you have with the guys that you drafted and you hope to develop? I think after a few days and after a few reps with actual pads on and things are moving, you start to realize where guys are. And that's when you see veterans get the call later on. Like, hey, do you want to come in? You don't want to bring those guys in automatically, because you want to see what you have in Ambry Thomas. So Steven Nelson's there. He should be sitting by the phone. I'm sure that wouldn't be the only team that's going to come calling, but I have a feeling the 49ers are going to do all they can to try and develop the cornerbacks that they have right now that they've drafted, because it is important to develop the guys that you drafted to show that you can develop players from different positions.